reviewed and addressed by the applicant and by staff. And that being said, I think we'll call the first person, Tara Higgins.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tara Higgins. I am an attorney. I'm a resident. I'm one of the village judges here. But I think what most people find more interesting is that I'm Tara from Tara Inn, a pub that is located 3 doors north of where the subject project is. We've been there 46 years, so obviously this is very personal to us, whatever is going on in Upper Port. This sort of thing is outside my wheelhouse, so I apologize if I sound ignorant or insulting to anybody with some of the points. My husband's here with me tonight, my dear sister who runs the business, and her husband was here at the last meeting, so I took a few notes. The first point being, who is it that decides the tax break that Conifer gets? Is that a village, town, or county decision? And does the set off for that then fall to the residents and or the businesses? We have some concerns about the waste treatment, and is the current facility at full capacity? Obvious concern for us is would Main Street be closed off during the construction, which would directly impact our family business? Is some or all of the housing at this construction Section 8? And maybe if there could be a little clarity on what was talked about at the last meeting about workforce housing, which I took notes, 50 to 90% of the median income. I'm not sure what that means. Is that based on all residents of Fort Jeff, or how does that work? And then the change of direction on Perry Street. Would that require an additional traffic light on Main Street? And Conifer or the village or both have to then work with the state in order for approval, because I think that's a state roadway there, right? So those are just some of our concerns and things we threw around after the last meeting. And again, not my wheelhouse, so I hope I didn't insult or sound ignorant to anybody.
No, that was
Thanks.
good. I don't know, Kathleen, if you want to come up or someone else. While you're doing that, I will take a stab at the last one, which is the change in direction in Perry Street. I think as we said before, that would need to be accomplished with the cooperation from any development to the north of Perry, so that this project and the developer of that project, which is not, nothing has been filed yet, I don't think, on anything north of Perry for review. Those two developers would need to contribute toward the reversal of Perry and an installation of a traffic signal on Main Street, which would be coordinated along Main Street, so that theoretically you'd only stop at one traffic signal. You wouldn't be stopping at multiple traffic signals. That's down the road. The thought here was that we might, and as part of the approval of this project, require that this applicant post a bond for a period of time. If that other development does not occur within that period of time, the bond goes away. Its term is shorter, because we can't have this applicant on the hook for that amount of time to make an improvement that they really can't fund entirely. They can only fund partially. I don't know if that's a good explanation, but that's the gist of it. Okay.
So, tax breaks, I addressed this last time. There really are not tax breaks anticipated. We do look to avail ourselves to IDA benefits, which do include a payment in lieu of taxes. So the way payments in lieu of taxes work with the IDA, the taxes on the site will never go below what they are right now. As the building is built and occupied, the payment in lieu of taxes is supposed to, it's designed to cover the costs and then ramp up over the course of the pilot. which is anywhere typically from 10 to 15 or 20 years. Generally, and we don't know what that schedule looks like yet. That's something that the IDA will determine. Town of Brookhaven IDA. Town of Brookhaven IDA. That they will determine that. And generally, with IDA benefits and with pilots, the amount of tax substitute ends up being more, at least the same, but usually generally more than what the general taxes would be, school and village and local. So there's nothing really for village residents to make up, just to answer the makeup question. There's no expectation that Main Street will need to be closed at any point during construction. There will not be any Section 8 housing as part of this project. We received a variance for height in the letter. That's not the case. It was determined that no variance was required, that the building is in fact a 3-story building. And then the indoor and outdoor space, we do have a recreational area as required by New York State for this type of development. And the outside balcony is about 500 square feet. I know it was something that this board felt very strongly about, that we do have some outside space for the residents and to keep them not recreating on the street, even though there are parks in the area. It's going to be a different model than Port Jefferson Crossing. And then I think we also have the renderings there's a rendering at the front that shows that this project is going to look different from Port Jefferson Crossing. Not because we don't like the way Port Jefferson Crossing looks, but because to Ms. Vis-a-vis' point, we want this to look different. We want to have varied facades along the street front. So I think after numerous meetings with the ARC, they've tweaked it, they've changed it, they've made a lot of suggestions, and I think that this facade along Main Street and along Perry Street accomplishes all the goals of the comprehensive plan and also the concerns expressed by the Civic Association.
Okay, next speaker, Andrea Howard.
Can you just raise your hand? You swear to testimony of the image. Your name is Andrea Howard.
Yes, it is. My name is Andrea Howard. I'm actually a former resident of the building in question. At the time that the building was put into foreclosure, there was myself and 3 other families that remained in the building. We had 1 hour to leave the premises. Someone came in, the town shut down the road, gave us 1 hour to get our belongings out. I was already out doing other errands and came home to find that our former police had already locked the building and told me that they would not allow me back in. That was that. With that in mind, I've always kept an eye on this building. I've lived in that building for 25 years and was familiar with it prior to that. I had dated a gentleman whose grandmother lived next door at Fort Perry. So I'm very interested in what's going on with this building. In my humble estimation, it did need repair. I do believe that that area there, as well as some of the other new construction, is causing Port Jeff to lose that little old charm that we always had with the Victorian looks and whatnot. And The last meeting, we were told that this was to also be considered as affordable housing, where the apartments would be between $600 and $3,000 a month. Now that we're seeing that the incomes here would be, the residents would have to make between 76 and 138,000. I don't see someone making 76,000 paying $600 for an apartment. I would think that affordable housing would be leaning more towards, I don't know how to put it, but affordable housing to me is not $3,000 a month. I might ask that it might be considered, since we were run out of the apartment building, that maybe we look for the other 3 families and maybe put them back in that building, if that's what they so choose. I would be interested myself in, if that were to become something that could be considered, I might consider moving back in, as I said, but I don't make anywhere near 76,000. So that's kind of sort of what I really wanted to say.
Last chance, anyone else in the audience would like to speak? Okay, as you've heard, there's been a lot of progress made in terms of the applicant submissions and the village review. But we just got a final set of plans today, so we're going to need some more time. Planning department staff is going to need more time to review and report back to the board. So that being said, we're going to, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn the hearing to March 14th, which is our next meeting date.
Could I address the board on that
Yes.
issue? I believe the set of plans that have been submitted, the only differences between those and what have been seen are these technicalities that have been corrected, and I think certainly planning staff has some work to do with us to make sure that they're reconciled. The essential elements of the plan are not going to change during the course of that review. I think everything that the public has seen is what's being presented and what we're asking the board to make a decision on. That being said, I can understand if you would want to hold the record open for a period of time, but we would ask that the public hearing be closed, and that we'll have a chance then for the planning department to issue a list of their recommended conditions and draft a resolution with the secret findings and your final resolution that can happen after the hearing is closed, rather than have that start on March 14th and then go on into April and May. We still have a long road to hoe here with New York State and with the sewer agency and with the Department of Health. And these could run on parallel paths, but a lot of them can't start until the planning board makes its determination. So I would just ask if tonight you could close the public hearing, keep the record open for written comments if there's any additional comments people want to submit, but that the plans themselves are not going to have any meaningful changes, and what was submitted is not going to.
The changes were the elevation changes that we were asked to do for the ARC. Were just submitted for the record.
Right, and the floor plans just showing the habitable space. There were a couple of units that had to be tweaked, but everything else is exactly the same as what's been reviewed by the board and by the public to date. So I really urge the board to close the hearing. If you're concerned about the amount of time from the date of closing the hearing, if you go longer than 62 days, that's not a default approval. That just means that we have a right to sue you to force you to make a decision, and we're not going to do that. We would much rather work with you to get a decision. So I don't think you should be concerned about the timing of closing the public hearing when you have to make a decision. I think it will allow things to move forward more quickly instead of having another date a whole month from now where we start this again.
Okay. All right. I appreciate I understand your logic in making that request. We've got the planning department has a substantial amount of plans to go through and check, make sure they're consistent. We wanted to review the construction staging, things of that nature. That being said, and staff can weigh in or on any of this, but I think, and the board can, weigh in as well. But my feeling is that we should keep the hearing open until we get through those plans. That's not to say, of course, if we close the hearing on March 14th and we have 62 days, that's not to say, and I'm not going to speak for staff on this, but that 62 days can be expedited. But if everything is complete with the revisions that we got today and the plans, I would think that the planning department staff would expedite the final determination and make a recommendation to the board so that possibly the 62 days can be compressed. But I'll let the planning director weigh in on that one.
I cannot tell you now that you're in a position to make a recommendation to close the hearing. We just received the plans this afternoon. We have not had a chance to go through them in detail. With all due respect to the project team, we still do need to go through our punch list of items and compare the final plans to the architectural plans, et cetera. I think you laid it out. We are giving all attention that we can to this project, and we've got other projects that we're doing as well. So we're just not in a position to make a recommendation to close the hearing.
All right, board member comments? Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn the hearing until March 14th? Second? All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Meeting, just general business, and
Okay.
some, in our work session, we have 4 items on this work session. First, what we'll do is take a vote on the January 1st.
That's where sister runs it, so she only works 8 days a week. Take care.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
I did not hear what. I motion to approve the minutes for January. Thank
Four,
you.
nothing. Next planning board meeting, as I said, is on March 14th, which we already talked about. Okay, so we're gonna actually, we have a request to move to 30 Sheepasture Road first, so we'll do that one.
You'd like that? Oh, that was the first. That was the first on the agenda.
Oh, do I have a different agenda?
Crazy. Oh, you'll be at January 11th.
Oh, well, it's
Oh,
the one
sorry.
after 15:15.
My bad.
Yeah, okay,
All right.
all right. We normally read in we do at the work session, right? Just the
Well,
general,
since we're being more forward.
okay, why don't we do that? Just the particulars on 30 Sheepasture, if you would, do you have a mic?
I told him
Oh,
I thought I was wrong.
I'm sorry, I changed direction on that.
30 Sheepasture Road, site plan amendment, application number 0675-23, Location is 30 Sheep Pasture Road, Verizon Building. Suffolk County Tax Map Number, Section 21, Block 4, Lot 6. Zoning is C2 Commercial District. Applicant is Alexander Rutt, Realtor. Property owner is New York Telephone Company. The contact is WFC Architects, care of Steven Serenaro. Description is a proposed installation of 200 kW Bloom Energy Saver equipment, referred to the planning board by the building inspector letter dated October 19th, 2023. Action is January 11th, 2024, the planning board reviewed. January 17th, 2024, the ARC reviewed. January 31st, 2024, ARC comments have been received. February 9th, 24, received revised plans from the applicant. And tonight is to approve a draft resolution.
Okay. Deirdre, you want to just give a summary of, quick summary of what's happened on this one?
Yep, so on the northwest corner, they have a concrete pad with mechanical equipment on it. It's within all the setbacks that's required, it's over 10 feet, I think it's actually 13 feet from the side yard. It's over 80 feet from the front yard, you really can't see it even very well from the road, unless you're probably looking for it. So, in speaking with the ARC, they requested, I think originally proposed was a fence with faux foliage around it to kind of block it. But the ARC and myself kind of wanted a little bit more of actual plantings. And there are plantings already on the street, they can see from the street, like shrubs and just kind of natural things that'll be there. So I think they requested an evergreen shrub just to block the view of it.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, the ARC memo has
Yeah.
photographs with a simulation of the bush, and it fits in with the rest of the vegetation. I don't know if you saw that.
Yep.
It's the third photo. It just has the bush on the end. That's, acceptable to everyone here. So we've got a draft resolution to read through on that and hopefully get approved after we finish reading.
Can I just ask?
Yeah, sure.
My question is, what does this piece of equipment do? Is it supplemental, or is it in a case of emergency and just comes on and off?
I'm not entirely too sure, but the applicant is here, if you want to have it.
Yeah, why not?
So it's, I'm one of the architects from
Yeah.
WC Architects. Just to give you a quick little Google document of what a fuel cell server is. It utilizes hydrogen and oxygen combined with a fuel source, which is gas, to create electricity. So this would be a supplemental fuel for the source for the building.
So beyond all the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And it's very quiet, hums like an air conditioning condenser.
Okay.
And it's pretty far from the road, so.
Yes.
You know, you have CNC collision right behind you.
Yes.
And you do a lot of painting on cars that were in accident, and there's no possibility of,
No, they're enclosed. All the units are enclosed.
okay.
Yeah, so there'll be no risk of, intake of pollutants.
What necessitated more power?
I think this is just a green initiative from Verizon. They're installing these in a lot of their facilities to reduce utilization from electricity from the grid.
But it's gas.
It's using natural gas. Correct.
Everyone want to read through the resolution?
It's one page. Okay, I don't see a sign. I don't see the one.
Oh,
Oh, because
The
the
signature
moved it up
page.
here.
Oh,
Well,
I
the decision
see.
has been
Okay.
moved up. Yeah.
To approve the resolution.
Okay,
And I will second the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, let's go back to 1515 Main Street. When you finish French writing, Cindy, if you read in the background information on that one.
1515 Main Street, site plan amendment and conditional use permit, application number 0631-22. Location is 1515 Main Street, vacant builder prior AC Electric. Suffolk County Tax Map Number, Section 21, Block 5, Lot 15. Zoning is C2 Commercial District. Applicant is Katrina Tedesco and Joseph Piccolo, care of Earth Dork Inc. Property owner Charlie Lefkowitz. Contact Katrina Tedesco. Description is proposed doggy daycare to include grooming, retail, indoor public dog park. The action is to update on pile-up request, which has been referred to the Board of Trustees.
Okay, who's doing the update from the planning staff?
Can certainly update you. The applicants, as you know, have provided a request for a pilot. That request went to the Board of Trustees. The planning staff prepared for the planning board a recommendation letter, which also went to the Board of Trustees. The trustees at their work session last night deliberated and discussed the pilot and asked for some additional information, which I provided some today. So it's with the trustees at the moment for them to make a determination on the pilot cost. And if I could, I'll just go back. We looked at some of the history of pilot recommendations from the board. Going back to 2018, we found a recommendation for $6,500 per space for Conifer 1, I believe it was. The result, we found a resolution from the Board of Trustees for $4,000 per space. We don't know how the trustees got from the board's recommendation to $4,000. My own creation in my own mind is that perhaps when they looked at the Conifer 1 project, its funding sources, its tight margins around what they can do with the project, perhaps the Board of Trustees just felt that it should be discounted. I don't know, but that is the prerogative of the Board of Trustees to take into other considerations and set the cost. From that time forward, right after that, the North Country Road, One North Country Road project came in. The Board of Trustees approved the $4,000 pilot, maybe to be consistent with the prior pilot. We did find a request from the Brookstone, is it called? The one that has the Southtown coffee shop in it, is that called?
Oh, South.
It's
It's the Brook House.
I'm sorry, Brookhouse, yeah, Brookhouse. We found a request for a waiver of the $6,500 per space fee to the Board of Trustees, but we couldn't find a determination from the Board of Trustees on that. So we believe, staff believes that looking at the 2018 recommendation, looking at cost to construct a parking lot, breaking that down per space cost, we felt that at the time the $6,500 recommendation was pretty much on the mark for construction costs of surface parking. Since that time, the price of everything has gone up. So the department recommended to the planning board, which recommended to the Board of Trustees, that perhaps they would want to consider a rate of inflation to add onto the $6,500 recommendation to make today's cost in line with what it might cost. So the board deliberated that, and I don't believe that they've made a determination as of yet.
All right, so it's,
And again, if this was a site plan that had options with regard to parking, we would have explored those options. We might have even recommended that the request was the minimus and that it should go to the ZBA and just get that waived. But in this instance, we felt that the 17 spaces that they were requesting to be relieved was significant and that they should really go to the Board of Trustees and discuss that.
okay, so it's in the works. All right, next up, 14 East Broadway.
14 East Broadway. 14 East Broadway, site plan amendment. application number PB 067323, location 14 East Broadway, the current vacant Echoing Jewelry Store. Suffolk County Tax Map Number, Section 12, Block 2, Lot 3, zoning is C1 Commercial District. Applicant Eric Bornaby, RA, care of EAB Architectural Designs, PLLC. Property owner is East Ferry Office, LLC. Contact is Eric Bornaby, RA, care of EAB Architectural Designs, PLLC. Description, proposed exterior modifications to an existing building. Action is January 11th, 24, the planning board reviewed. January 17th, 24, the ARC reviewed. January 31st, 24, ARC comments were received. On February 1st, 24, revised plans were received. And tonight's action is to approve a draft resolution.
Okay. Eric, you want to come up?
How is everyone?
Good, how are you? Yeah, this is good. I think you probably speak loud enough. People, there's only a couple people here.
Okay.
Can hear you. Yeah. And this is just for the exterior modifications.
That's what the purpose of this is for. We're going for interior and work that doesn't require any special approvals.
Okay. Do we have any information as to, is this the proposed ticket office for the ferry?
No, this is going to be administrative.
Administrative.
I can, the plans have been submitted, and even these plans that you have the interior alterations for what's going to be. This is going to be more focused for the guys that work on the boat. It's going to be a locker room with showers and things like that, so they can keep their things, and it's going to be, for that. And then the new owners had asked some of the tenants if they wanted to stay. The Pilates instructor wanted to stay, so they accommodated a space for her to stay as a tenant.
Okay. So there's no public ticketing there? Are you going by ticket, waiting room or anything like that?
Wait, I'm sorry. So it's a showers, locker room and shower?
Right.
Okay. I would love to, you're very large, you're representing a very large corporation. We've seen the application for the old water building. I'd really like to see some sort of grant scheme. I'm not understanding why we're getting all of this piecemeal.
Right, so it's been coming through in phases as real estate becomes available, so they've had long-term plans that have kind of changed.
I mean, I'm
So
not
they're still planning to
comfortable-
go ahead with knocking down the building that they have and then making a
Were there showers and things in that building that you're knocking down?
there is a locker room area and a shower area. It's unisex.
And is there enough on the other side of the, so you're intensifying that use in terms of sewage, I'm assuming, because of it was only office.
Right.
So it's not office, right, if it's locker rooms and
Right, so-
showers.
On the plans that we received, there were offices and call center.
Right, but it's not offices.
No, it is gonna be offices.
It's offices.
But-
It's gonna be offices. There is a small locker room that's taking over a portion of the floor, the first floor, that they're gonna use, for that. They have an employee lounge that's gonna be in the base of what the old jewelry store was. So they have kind of an open lounge for employees. They have 500 between all the businesses. So, and then they're still sticking to what they submitted as their initial long-term plan of knocking that building down. They've gone through this before. They want to knock that down and reconfigure the way that you enter into the property and kind of go through, but they're trying to get the stuff out of the way. So they're trying to move whatever they have there, they're getting that out of the way, and then they can, that's their next phase.
Absolutely. However, this is the first time I'm hearing that it's going to be locker room, showers.
Okay.
It's not office.
It's just,
Locker rooms, there's allowed a certain amount of accessory to office,
Okay.
so lockers and shower changing areas and things like that would be an accessory use to the office. Let's just say you bicycle into the office and you want to Those are, that is a typical accessory.
So the ticket office is gonna stay where it is, but eventually we wanna take it down?
After they're done with, so that building is well on its way, what they have with its construction now. This other building, they bought it, it became available, they bought it, and this is what they're using it for. And then the next phase is to knock, and then we've already started that process. So the next phase is to knock down that building and to come up with, just to clean up that whole area. So now they won't need to have an area for the offices, they won't need to have an area for the boat workers to, you know, keep their belongings and to change, you know, between ships and et cetera. So, they're allowing for this to be done so that they can, it's just an easier transition when they get to that point.
Yes, all right. So, are they anticipating needing more space besides the two buildings then?
Again, they're a 500-person company, so I don't know what their long-term growth plan is. I know they have various buildings throughout the village. So, this property became available, they purchased it, and this is what they chose to use it for. Their next plan is to improve the actual boat loading area, to knock down and redo the ticketing area, and that is their next goal. They're gonna, new building, new facilities, just the way everything that they've done to date, they've had this plan. They have submitted a civil plan of what they were looking to have done before, not through me, but previously. And, but now we're starting with the architectural plan.
So I think for the board, we can pull up that master plan for want of a better term, if you're interested in seeing that.
Yeah.
And-
Right, because it sounds like segmentation, you know?
Well, again, they're just occupying existing buildings, you know, to the extent that they're renovating the building, it would really trigger secret. But we can take a look at that, we can take a look at their overall plan, see what we did back then, and bring you up to speed on everything. A question was asked of me, though, are they doing any expansion in Bridgeport? Any work
They
going on
are.
in Bridgeport? They are.
They are.
Interesting.
Okay, because there was plans to move to the other side of the harbor with the terminal in Bridgeport. Do you know if that's
So
going forward?
that's a little bit above my pay grade.
Yeah, I know what you
To answer formally, I know I've heard different conversations about different things. And like I said, they're a very large company, they're constantly, you know, pivoting and going, and I have a good transmission, so I just keep changing gears and staying with it, so,
Okay.
that's all I can say about it.
All right, I did see somewhere, I thought I saw a news article that there's a new boat coming.
Yep,
Okay.
it's being built right now.
Do you know if they're retiring the old, well, if it's being built, it's gonna be a while before it comes.
I don't think that Fred Law would have a concern coming to the board and just refreshing your understanding of what's going
Yeah,
on.
that's
That's feasible?
What I
Overall
find
plan.
confusing is, at one point, they were saying that the ticket office was gonna go in the old Eggleman
Right,
building.
right, that's what,
And now it's going to be for the employees and the call center and some offices.
I think they heard your concern about pedestrians
Crossing
walking
the street,
across,
right.
going there, and they modified their
Right.
plan.
So now
As-
but that shifts everything about where the old ticket office, or what was going to happen with the old ticket office, and what's happening with the old Suffolk County Water Authority building. It's just,
Well, my understanding, I don't want to
everybody's-
speak for Eric, but the old ticketing operation is pretty much staying where it is right now.
okay,
So they're leaving a small ticketing building there for people who need to get tickets at the last minute. So that's going to stay there. It's not going into the Water Authority building, and it's not going across the street into the.
okay, but at one point, it's going to be torn down. Where do you go to get your ticket?
Right now, you can just pull right in and they do everything right at that first booth.
Okay. Yeah, so they're gonna have to have temporary facilities when they do knock that building down, but that'll be after they have approvals for the new building, right? So, the other building just needed to go because it needed to go, structurally wasn't sound, it had a lot of damage to it, so that's why they took it down prematurely, but, for that one, they're gonna keep that up as long as possible. They're planning to knock that down, build a whole new facilities for a new waiting area, new ticketing, you know, new facility. So they have different ideas, we'll see if the village approves them, in terms of kind of kiss and fly type of situation to try and,
I don't think it's unreasonable for us to ask, can we see some of these staging plans?
again, that's been submitted, that's been long-term plan, that's, you already have that. So,
Yeah, I think, Andy, if you can set something up with Fred, we'd like to talk to him and go over the plans, the
I haven't
staging
seen-
plans.
I'm sorry, did I miss a staging plan
with you.
for this building? Just in general, so you're saying
I'm
like.
really prepared for like this building, that's just what I need, like I
No,
don't
no.
have it in like hard
Yeah.
copy for that,
So-
I was just preparing for the facade changes for what this application was for. So I can
Right.
get those to you,
Yeah,
that's
that would be,
something else, yeah, I'm just saying I don't have
that would be, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, because the backup on, this is not your
Yeah.
purview, but
Not to,
the
not
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be.
yeah.
the backup from the booth onto East Broadway is can be horrific at times in the summertime when ferry usage is heavy. And the booth is very close to the roadway, which is not a good thing. So, yeah, we want to speak to Fred about that.
yeah, they're aware of all that, this is the next phase of what that is. So, they did submit a long-term plan years before, I mean, we've been working on that building since 2018, I believe, so it's been a while, and before that, they had that other plan out, so it was submitted a while ago, but this is kind of coming to where, we're about to get to that phase. We've begun those conversations about their wish list, and how to organize and what that needs to be, so, that's gonna be over there. So I don't really think they're planning on having any offices, other than for the people that are gonna be servicing that building of the waiting area and the restroom and the ticket sales.
I was a guest last night at the work session for the Board of Trustees, and I was privy to Fred Hall's presentation to the trustees on things that are happening. So I got a little bit of an overview, but I'm sure what he presented to the trustees last night, you'd be very happy to hear.
Yep.
And I'm sure you'd be happy to reprise that to you. So we'll get
All right. I mean, I have no problem with this, the current application.
Yeah, the current application,
But we want to hear more about the other.
Me too.
and how they gel.
Wait now, I wanna get my hands around it, so we're getting, take one carrot at a time, I keep chasing the carrots.
Anybody else have any questions, comments? Any more?
Just to, not to go back, to go back on a point that was discussed. The ticketing, assuming it's approved, now you have to do facilities, you start to take down the old facility. In that, on that site, there's gonna be a separate, a new, smaller ticket office, or are they gonna do everything, I know it's probably not,
Temporarily or permanently?
permanent.
Yeah, so permanently, they're the waiting area, ticket sales, restrooms, and I guess an office for the ticket sales is what is gonna be in that
So
area.
that
That's
would
it.
replace the existing.
That's it.
Yeah.
No conference rooms and all this other stuff we have in the building, we don't need that because that's, what they wanna use all that space they can for staging and, getting the cars off the road and into their lot and then onto the boat safely. So that's the plan. They're trying to get rid of all the stuff and just make it a clean slate.
The only other thing, and I'm sorry to beat a dead horse, but this is a C1 commercial district, it's not marine. So are we comfortable approving use by a ferry? For obviously, there are operations of the ferry, which is marine. Locker rooms. I'm just,
So
not to be a
general-
dead
yeah,
horse, I
general-
feel like it needs to be addressed, that it is a marine use, but marine uses are throughout the village, just throwing it out there that it's commercial.
So general office is permitted,
Right.
so I think the marine is more restricted so that, they don't want regular offices on the water side zone.
Right.
So I think we're
Just-
kind of
Just
using,
having it out there.
I understand,
Yeah.
and my comment to that is I think we're using the lesser restrictive.
Okay.
So,
I'm good with that, because really it's an office space and the cafe. I don't even know if the Pilates place has a shower or something for their tenants.
No, just a bathroom.
Right.
But could.
Right, just,
So-
just,
Yeah.
just
No,
so that
but-
we
That's a fair point.
discuss it.
Read through
you see the architectural review committee's comments about the windows and
We
matching?
responded to everything and we
You're good with
met
it?
their requirements.
So I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks, Eric.
Thank you, have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Last but not least, 5 Deerfield Court.
Deerfield Court, Site Development Plan, application number 0647-23, Suffolk County Tax Map Number, Section 14, Block 5, Lot 45. Zoning is RB1 Residential District. Applicant Amelia and Joseph Fontana, trustees. Property owner Giuseppe, AKA Joseph and Amelia Fontana, trustees. The description, applicant proposes to replace an existing retaining wall and deck. Action, variances for easterly and western side have been approved. Review site development plans for approval resolution.
Okay, and this was Joe Santana, so who's the Deirdre?
This is where I believe it's already put in a retaining wall that's necessary for the property. It was just missed, I believe, on the first go around that both sides needed it. One side, I think, was granted a 2.9, and that was granted. The other side that was missed is, I believe, 3.7 maybe. So it's even further away from the property line than what was previously granted, and they just need to get that as well, which they received.
And we got comments from the building department, no, the retaining wall. I'm sorry. The retaining wall itself has to come in for a permit.
Yes, yeah, they'll still go through all the permitting processes.
Anybody else have any questions, comments? Read through the resolution.
And I second the motion.
Oh, sorry.
All over behind. It's only, I'm only a page behind. And this covers both of them, the resident covers both sides of the wall. The way it's written, it seems like it was
Yeah, the two
retaining
variants,
walls.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm good with it.
A motion?
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
It's very patient.
Yes, thank you very
So what
much.
is the next, is there a next step?
Not with this board, no. Now, you already have your permit, right? The wall is built and you have your permit, right?
Yes.
Everything's done. So now we have to schedule for Jim to come to a final inspection
Oh, okay.
and get your CO.
Almost there.
Almost there.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Motion to adjourn?
I motion.
7:50.
Second.
The third one.
We're all in favor.
Yes.